Hello.
Hello.
Brandon here. I'm here with Grace.
Hello. I'm Grace.
Yep, so we're doing a little midnight screenings, even though it's currently
Like
8:30.
Yes, it's 8:30.
8:30 clock. We just got done seeing Space Jam 2 Into the Toonverse. or
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. So, there's been a lot of talk about this movie. Very mixed reviews over it.
Yeah, generally negative, but some mixed.
Some mixed, yeah. I think before we go talking about the actual movie, I think we can talk about the original from 1997, which...
I remember when that film was announced, I remember it was, in my memory, in my rose-colored memory, the most advertised movie I have ever seen. I remember the McDonald's was flipping decked with advertisements for that thing. I had, there was a Happy Meal. I got a little Marvin the Martian. That was immediately a cult classic.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of advertisements, too. I wasn't the biggest NBA fan back then, but I did like Michael Jordan. He was a talented guy. He got all those rings. And, but I've always been a big fan of the Looney Tunes. I watched the show on Nickelodeon growing up, and I was intrigued going into it. And it's not a great movie in general, but I still have a lot of good memories watching it.
I don't remember it. I haven't seen it in a million years.
Yeah,
but if I do, all the nostalgia will come rushing back.
Yeah, it's got a really good soundtrack.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Fly Like an Eagle. I Believe I Can Fly.
There were some references to the music in this new one. There's some they didn't play any of it, but
there's a few remixes here and there that they have. I forget which one, but the original that they have, it's got good music.
It introduced Lola.
Yeah, Lola.
Where she came from.
Let's talk about Lola, I think, for a little bit, because in the first movie, she is just straight up eye candy.
Yes, she was brought in towards the end, if I remember. It was right at the end, she comes in and it's just, look at her, she's hot.
She's hot.
Cartoon rabbit.
Bugs is falling for her. Even her intro is all sexified.
Yeah.
But it's really, she's just there as eye candy. They play her up like she's a really great basketball player.
Yeah.
She scores one basket in the game, and then she's on defense the entire time. But now, and the version they have for this movie, she's kind of like a mix of the Lola from the Looney Tunes show.
Yes,
that came out
without the insanity, though. That version of her was absolutely insane. Here, she's normal, but she's not sexy.
No,
she's just normal.
And it's like she's all right. She does have words of encouragement here and there.
I did not find her to be one of the negative aspects of this film.
She was perfectly fine in it.
Yeah.
She had an entire scene where she's basically in the Wonder Woman verse.
Yes, all the characters kind of got a Warner Brothers scene, sort of very classic things.
Yeah,
some of which were not so good.
No, there was a DC Batman, Superman bit.
And they kept the animation style of the original cartoons.
Yeah, even as crazy and ridiculous as it gets, the animation is really good.
Yes, the animated sequences, the 2D animated sequences, were very, very good. 2D.
Yeah, and that's what I really miss, is seeing all the 2D animated stuff, and they do a really good job with it, I think.
Yes, and it was very, very chaotic and fast-moving, a bit too fast, but the original did that too, where it was kind of too much.
Well, at least
it was almost like Osmosis Jones level of overly 2D animated.
Yeah, at least with the original, there's at least two different worlds going on. You had the human world and you had the Toon world, and they were able to balance it out a little much. Yeah. Here, basically the Digiverse, or the...
Yeah, it was like a digital world
that Don Cheadle has created.
Evil Cheadle.
Yeah. It's basically a bunch of Warner Brothers properties like Harry Potter, DC Verse,
Mad Max, The Matrix, Mad Max. It had I mean, of the places that we visited with the cartoon character, like with the Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes characters, it was a bunch of DC Comics characters. Harry Potter, he said that. Flipping that for no reason.
That was like they just throw in the most random.
And Rick and Morty show up. Rick and Morty show up.
Yeah. Like they have a whole bunch of different properties.
I feel like that, as funny-ish, I guess, to some people as a reference as that would be, it's not going to age at all.
Well, they're just there. They throw Taz onto the spaceship, and that's pretty much their only scene.
I don't think this is going to be as timeless and cult classic-y as the original at all.
No.
I kind of don't like the idea of it being like a server that they're all in. Because in the original, it was a toon world. It was real. Where this is like, so they're not real then? They are just cartoons stored on a server in the Warner studio? I don't like that.
Yeah, like the original, basically, it's like the toon world is underground, but here it's just like some kind of crazy Matrix-style gimmick that they have going on in the basement of Warner Brothers. And it's like, okay, but it's kind of weird how they do that.
I don't really like that it's not like real. I like when the stuff is like it's real.
Nah.
It's like when I like Pokemon more than Digimon.
Sometimes we wish it's real.
Yeah.
Like as far as we'll go into like the story a little bit more. So basically, spoiler alert for anybody who's watching spoilers
at this point.
So LeBron James, King James, he and his son Dominic, he's trying to get Dominic to get into basketball camp. He wants Dominic to continue the bloodline of the James family, where he's the next great basketball player. But Dominic just wants to be more of a video game designer. And he designs this video game, like this crazy 3D basketball game on his computer, which is the setup he has is crazy. He's got like 4 different screens going on.
It's definitely unrealistic. Even the software he's using, it's like it's not real.
Like he takes a picture of his phone of a spider, and I guess
it fully digitizes it like instantly, completely correctly. It's not quite real. It's kind of,
you expect realistic.
No.
It's not realistic, but it's crazy. And then so they go to Warner Brothers, and I think they're trying to make like a... What were they trying to do?
Don Cheadle is an AI, like he's an algorithm in the Warner servers.
That's his name, Algorithm.
Algorithm. Yeah, and he wants to be famous and known, and so he finds the most famous, well-known person in the world, and it's LeBron James.
Apparently.
Yeah, and he wants to like make LeBron James sort of like, I guess, advertise or something the server. Like he wants to digitize LeBron James to then put him in things and to make Don Cheadle can, I guess, also be famous somehow for being the algorithm that, I don't know. But LeBron doesn't like the idea. He doesn't like the idea of being in movies because the joke, is he doesn't think that sports stars can act. That's the joke, because we've had a movie where that has happened. And
honestly, like LeBron, he's not that great an actor either. He's not really an actor.
The acting in it was surprisingly not as bad as I anticipated. He was bad, but it was the like, well, this isn't a real trained actor trying to act. The kid who played his son, I think, was the worst.
Oh, he is not good at all.
He was not good, and they really had some editing issues when it came to like editing around his acting.
No.
There were 2 instances I noticed where Don Cheadle was definitely 80 yard later.
They were doing something with his voice, like a weird.
They shifted it to make it more digitized sounding, but there were points where the lip movement did not match his voice.
No.
It was clearly him, but he had re-recorded it post.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, they had a weird filter to make him more demonic, and it's like, it's weird how they did that.
So, continuing the story is LeBron doesn't like the idea of being digitized to be put into movies because whatever, but his son, who had accompanied him to the studio, was like, I think that's pretty cool. I like that. And so Don Cheadle, who's watching through like a security camera, because he has access to any electronics, he's able to watch through, and so he's like, he's trying to get the kid to be on board. And so when they go to the elevator to leave the studio, Don Cheadle like rigs it so that they go down to the server room basement, and the kid just wanders in because it's interesting, and then he finds this big like weird dome thing that he touches, and it transports him into that world, and LeBron, looking for his son, does the same thing. And then immediately like the Don Cheadle, like he like takes the son and is like, if you want your son back, you gotta play basketball.
Of course.
Against me. And go find a team. You got 24 hours to find a team to go play, and then he shoots him to the Toon World, and that's where he finds Bugs Bunny. But then where are the other Toons? And the idea was they all left to go to be like bigger and better than them. And then we go through each of Game of Thrones. That was another one. They go through each of these like Warner's properties. They make a reference to like Wizard of Oz, King Kong, like all Warner Brothers properties are referenced.
Matrix.
Yeah, the Matrix. And it's kind of interesting how they, like, when it's an animated one, they animate the characters in the style of that cartoon, but when it's live action, like the Looney Tunes characters are still cartoons, but LeBron is just in costumes of whatever film that is.
Like, I kind of see what they were getting with that, because in the original, like, Michael Jordan just goes into the Toon World and he's still human. But when LeBron goes into the Toon World, he's a Toon. He goes into DC World, he's a Toon. All these other worlds, he's a Toon. But once he's in the actual game, when they do the 3D effects,
they upgrade everybody.
And
they make them 3D, so he goes back to being a regular looking person.
Yeah. I think, and the biggest problem, and I know this kind of had the same problem, but in the original, but it just seems like the Looney Tunes themselves are just kind of pushed into the background to kind of...
Yes, they did not really get their characters shown very well.
Like they have Lola do the whole thing with the Wonder Woman, where she's trying to be made in Amazon. That's like the most development she gets. Yeah. She's pushed into the background. Bugs, they tried to do the whole...
like they made it like he's lonely because all the Toons left, and so he's trying to capture everyone together and have friends again.
But it's like it just feels like something's missing.
It was very noticeable that Pepe Le Pew wasn't there. I thought they should have at least...
Pepe Le Pew would not have done anything.
I don't think he would have done anything, but I really think they should have still made like a little reference, like almost make it like they left him behind and like, haha, that was the joke in the end, is that he got left behind. Like something to just acknowledge that his character does in fact exist, but he's just not going to be in the film.
Nah. But it just seems like most of the focus is just on LeBron and Don Cheadle and his son just trying to get the whole thing together, and like the Looney Tunes are just playing second fiddle to the whole thing. And
Don Cheadle was having fun.
Don Cheadle, like I'll say this, like he's a great actor. He's having a blast in this. Yes. He is just going crazy.
Yeah, he's absolutely having fun. He's clearly the best actor in the film.
Yeah.
And yeah, the pacing of the film was a bit off. The basketball game itself happened at it felt like the midway point. They already started the game.
Yeah.
And then, boy, did they have to pad it out. Versus there could have been a bit more in the intro, actually. Like, as much as they probably wanted to get to the tunes, they really could have had a little bit more. Because the idea was that LeBron's son obviously doesn't want to be a basketball player, he wants to be a video game designer, but they could have maybe spent a little bit more time showing the dynamic of how his father isn't respecting him. Like, it was one scene, and it was the only laugh I gave the film was that right in the beginning, like within the first 5 minutes, is the son, his older son is behind LeBron, and LeBron's yelling at the younger son, at Dom, and the older son is like mouthing what LeBron's saying and really playing it up, and he's like, I can see you, what did he say?
I've got full court vision.
Full court vision, yeah. So he's able to see the whole court, and other than that, yeah.
Oh, it's getting dark quickly.
Yeah. I did not.
Yeah, I laughed when he got hit when the older brother got hit with the basketball.
That was another
cannon.
Joke. Also, again, right in the beginning.
And keep in mind, this is just the scenes with the family. Like all the bits with the Looney Tunes. Like, honestly, like, it's bad enough when there's stuff where it's bad enough when there's jokes that just don't land and just aren't funny. But it would feel good if it's being fun and entertaining and you're not being bored. I was bored throughout a lot of this movie.
I actually was kind of dreading to the point where the tunes came in, because that beginning, as cheesy and like not so well acted as it was, I was kind of interested in the family stuff. And then like having to figure out how to make a contrived scenario where the tunes need to come in, I was like, I'd rather just see the family have their issues and deal with them and whatever. So there was a joke where he had like a ball like thing that would ball cannon. He'd like call for a basketball and it would just shoot out, and they had like a semi-running joke. Again, it's in like the first 5 minutes of the film where whenever they call for a ball, it just hits the older son. That was like the one joke I really laughed at. Yeah, and that's right in the beginning, and then it just kind of
but like
tanked.
But as like far as some of the other stuff, voice acting, they had Jeff Bergman, I believe, and Eric Bauza. Like I know people give these big movies crap for not crediting the actors. They got credits. Their names were in the opening credits and in the end credits.
The director was twice in the opening credits. It said directed by, and then later in the opening credits it said directed by. To say like I don't know what the director's name is, but he was credited twice as the director.
It's funny you mentioned the director. He talks about, oh, this is much better than the original Space Jam. No, it's not.
No.
At least with the original Space Jam, you were able to flesh out the Looney Tunes more. You gave them more to do. There was a nice balance between the human and the cartoon world. Here you're just flying or just throwing so much at a quick pace. It's so schizophrenic. Go here, go there, go here.
Don't know if like I'm trying to look at this like am I just looking at the previous one through rose-colored glasses? If I was there when it came out and it was the kid, and so it was way more. This I really don't think is going to stand the test of time. I really don't think it will. The audience during the game, that's oh my goodness. They call in an audience. Don Cheadle like calls in an audience, and all these Warner Brothers properties all come in. Was it an advertisement? They're in the meeting room in like the scene in the beginning. You can see an Aquaman poster in.
I saw a Scoob, a Teen Titans Go poster.
Yeah.
I saw a statue of Dot.
Yeah, I saw the Dot statue.
And then in the actual, I was looking at all the characters in the background, trying to see if I noticed anybody. I saw the Scooby-Doo gang. I saw Animaniacs at a few points.
All the Hanna-Barbera, Magilla Gorilla, Grape Ape, Jetsons, Flintstones.
Pennywise.
Yeah, there were two different penguins.
Two different
versions of the DC, villain, the Penguin. There was a Joker, but it was like the old, like Adam West Joker. Yeah, the Mask.
And of course, your Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, the Droogs from the Clockwork Orange.
As soon as I saw the Joogs, I'm like, oh, I'm totally seeing this movie with you.
And the Pennywise was the new Pennywise.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. Just so many, but they're all doing their own thing. It's really distracting. Instead of watching the game, they're like back there, like, and
you're
it's like, are these extras? Like they're messing with the film. Like they're having a moment where LeBron is talking because his son joins the opponent's team.
Yeah.
Because he's like, my dad doesn't care about my games, and Don Cheadle's like, yeah, your dad doesn't care about your games, so he's having to, which is an interesting concept. It was done pretty poorly, but it's him having to play against his own son, and the idea is that if the son's team wins, they're all trapped in the Toon world, like forever.
Yeah, like,
or whatever.
Why, it really bugs me, like, why is Dominic so determined to beat his own father that he's risking himself being trapped in this universe?
He doesn't believe that that's really what's going to happen. I thought he's whatever, and LeBron, he's got to beat his own son at basketball, which is also an interesting thing that wasn't really done. But they're having a moment towards the end finally where they are like, I love you, Dad, and I love you, son, and these video games aren't a thing, because LeBron learns that you do have to have fun, because the whole thing was that he's like this stick in the mud and he's not fun playing. He doesn't have there's no fun in basketball. It's all work.
Yeah.
And now he finally learns to have fun because of how the tunes taught him that. And now oh shoot, we're all.
Hey, it's classic midnight screening trope. The lights go off.
Okay, and the other team, who seemed in the beginning to be having a lot of fun. They were like playing around, and there's like a spider person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so instead we don't get we do get the Nerd Lux and like a cameo, but
Yeah.
instead of them we have like weird
Digitized,
mutated versions of basketball players from the NBA and WNBA, and there's a spider, there's a water person, a fire person.
The water and fire person with the same guy. Ah!
Or, nope, I got it.
Okay.
Or whatever, but
there's a slowing down time.
At least with the Nerd Lux, they were at least given time, but we barely they're just there for the game, and they mostly just disappear half of the time, and they like the game itself, like, okay,
I think it's poorly choreographed,
like
even for a cartoon.
The first movie, there was the whole game was not played straight at all. There was cheating constantly. The whole game is basically like, if you've ever played something like Rocket League or Tron, where you're just
Tron.
trying to get combos and stuff while trying to get goals or baskets in this case, and the whole game, like, if you score, like, do some kind of weird move, and then you score the basket, you get like 100 points or something like that.
Yeah, you get bonus points for like style.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And but basically they're doing that the whole time, and eventually, like, the first half, the Toon Squad's just getting smushed the entire time.
Oh, and huge spoiler.
Yeah.
In the end, there was, in the beginning of the film, there's a glitch, like Dom shows his dad his game,
Yeah.
and his dad does a glitch that deletes the character.
Delete!
And the kid doesn't really freak out that much. It's bad child acting, because his character just got deleted that he'd programmed, and he's like, it's gonna take me 2 weeks to rebuild this.
Yeah,
and I'm
why?
like, why didn't you back up your program? Why'd you not back up your code?
He's young. He doesn't know anything about external well, he probably would.
He was using a lot of technobabble. That kid knows. He was talking about different types of server stuff and whatever. He didn't, whatever, so that's the winning move, is because Don Cheadle, because the kid switches teams, and so there's not enough players.
Yeah.
And so Don Cheadle becomes like Giga Cheadle.
It was like, if you've seen Moonwalker, when Michael Jackson turns into the giant robot thing, he turns into this giant jacked
Cheadle.
up. He is literally War Machine. And then he starts playing, and then
Beating his girlfriend.
and then it turns into the same scenario as in the original, where the villains are just beating the shit out of the Toon Squad.
And so the only way to win, because Don Cheadle, he is the server. He runs the whole thing. So the only way to do it is do the glitch that will slow everything down, so that they can get the final point.
And of course, like in the original, they have the last 10-second gimmick, and basically Bugs does the move, and then Dom does.
LeBron's gonna do it, but he doesn't have enough height to get to the hoop, and so Dom tosses like this, like, 1-up or something. It's like
it's a platform that he can jump on. So
it's like gives you a jump boost thing.
In the original, Michael just used his Toon powers to just stretch his arm out. Yeah, and Cheadle is like, that's cheating, and it's like, you call this cheating? The whole game
is cheated. And also, what was I saying? I was gonna say something about Don Cheadle again. I don't remember.
There was one other. I forget. Like, I'm not the biggest NBA fan. I mean, I watch the Nets, and like Kevin Durant carrying the whole team. But it's like a whole. Like, at some points watching the game, it gets very, very nauseating to watch a bit, because there are so many colors just watching it. I'll say this, it's a very colorful movie, with all the colors, but there's flashes. A little bit of a warning to anybody who wants to see it. You might get a little bit of motion sickness or epilepsy watching it, because it gets very
and so throughout this whole thing, the audience is just like, there's just, the extras are like, did anyone watch them to make sure they were being appropriate? And like, no one's doing anything inappropriate, but they're not watching the game. These like people are just like, well, some of them really seem like they're trying to mess with you, because if you're trying to like pay attention to the dialogue or the game, and then you're looking at the people in the background dressed like
it got distracting.
Wizard of Oz characters and like Game of Thrones, and they're like high-fiving each other. You're like, this is...
And they had the Nerdlux too as well, but only as like brief cameos. And
yeah, they're like in 2 shots, like they cut them twice.
And I'm pretty sure the second one was recycled from the original. But and if in case you're wondering if they do have Michael Jordan in the movie,
No.
well,
Michael B.
Jordan.
And that thing is, that was
bastards.
such a disappointment too, because it would have been so cool to have a genuine cameo.
Instead, they played it up as a joke.
Yeah, like it was like not, it was really it kind of brought the whole thing down even more.
Yeah. And like to many, like, would I go see this movie again? No. Like,
Would I even watch it on HBO Max or whatever, where you don't have to go to theaters to see it?
No.
Just watch the original.
Like, just like, yeah, you have the original, you have the Looney Tunes show, you got, I don't know.
You can just watch ESPN.
ESPN, watch those goofballs, Looney Tunes show, and yeah, there's probably a whole montage of like Michael Jordan product plugs with the Looney Tunes in them. You could probably look them up as well.
Oh, this whole movie was a commercial.
Well, so was the original. I mean, like, even in the original, when Wayne Knight comes in and says, "Put your Hanes on, lace up your Nikes, grab your Wheaties and your Gatorade, and we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the ballpark."
At least that's an obvious joke versus
Yeah.
this was
Trying to play it up for...
just reference humor, like reference stuff, like
And
Harry Potter stuff.
Like, there wasn't even any reason to have Harry Potter in it, because there's like one bit where LeBron is randomly dressed up as a Hufflepuff as they go past Harry Potter world, and it's like, why is this even here?
It did seem like didn't even seem like they had the full rights to this stuff. Like when they showed the Mad Max scene, they're using genuine clips from Mad Max Fury Road.
Just
they didn't recreate anything.
Like, they lifted it right from the movies.
But Tom Hardy it's an animated version of him, but everything else is kept the same. Like, did they not get the rights to use his face?
No idea.
Even Austin Powers, it's like old grainy film from the 90s.
It's like they just took the footage right from YouTube.
Yeah, but then other stuff they did animate new sequences. Like The Matrix, that was kind of a new shot. Like it was LeBron James as a human. At like the way the Matrix film angles things with the green filters and everything. I'm like, at least they're trying a unique. But they're filming a new scene. They're not just cutting stuff from the actual.
Yeah, but
movie.
with Mad Max and Austin Powers, they didn't even try.
They didn't try at all.
No. So, if you were to grade this movie, what would you give it?
A thumbs down. I don't know, like out of 10.
Or A, B, C, D, F.
D
Yeah.
plus.
I'll give it a C minus because
the acting. The kid was the worst, but also it's a kid.
Yeah.
But also, come on, this movie cost $120 million to make. LeBron was not the worst actor in it.
No, he was okay. There were times like
he was supposed to be like afraid, but he was clearly smiling because he doesn't know how to do like acting emotions.
I'll say this, because when you compare him to Michael Jordan in the original,
just as cheesy,
but I think he was a little more into it. Like, he was marking out for Bugs and Marvin the Martian and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you can tell he was into that stuff, but a lot of his acting was very stupid. Like, there's a part where he's falling through the universe and he's like,
Yes. Yeah. Like,
it was so bad. But, yeah. If you're... it's nowhere near as good as the original.
No.
Like the director says it's much better. No, it's not.
No, and I felt like they really just tried to cram in as many references to other Warner products as possible, then tell the story.
Nah, but yeah, but I guess the
stakes weren't as high. The stakes weren't as high.
Well, the stakes in the original, I guess, were if the Looney Tunes lose and Michael loses, they all are stuck on, they get sent to Moron Mountain for the rest of their lives. Here, the stakes are, if the Goon Squad wins,
they all get stuck in a server room. So
they all get stuck in the server, and all the tunes are deleted.
World. Yeah, and the tunes I forgot about that. Tunes do get deleted as far as Don Cheadle's.
It's definitely.
And also, Annie, that Don Cheadle had put out an ad for this game so that real life fans of LeBron James would like get this phone app and then watch it. And if you were watching it, you got sucked into that world. But it was showing like a flight attendants getting sucked in, and I'm like, how dangerous it was this
Plane mode.
Yeah, but it didn't show anything like a surgeon at the table and then getting sucked away. But you knew that happened. You knew that
maybe
someone doing something really important was getting sucked in.
That'd be terrible.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's really all there is to say about this movie.
Yeah.
But well, but you know what? At least movies are coming back. Like, this wasn't the first movie I saw back since they started open theaters. The first one was Black Widow.
I have not seen that, nor have this was my first movie back in theaters.
Yeah. What a great first stop.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Like I said, C- for me.
Yeah, not the worst.
No,
but
like if the Razzie Awards come, I wouldn't call it the worst movie
I would not
of 2021.
I would not nominate for a Razzie for anything.
No,
it's not that bad. It
No.
just wasn't good.
Yeah, that's all I think there is to say about this. I hope you enjoyed watching, and
hopefully the framing doesn't cut me off too much.
Oh well, you know, if you're like me, you'll be background noise. Like I'll be playing it in the background, and then I'll be playing.
Yeah, it's
Candy
like a
Crush.
podcast. You don't need to see our faces to understand what we're saying. Yeah.
Well, until next time, guys.
Thank you, viewers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're despicable.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.